Okay, Tom Ruff does a great job, one of the best analysts on the Phoenix real estate market, and he's getting a little more strident. So, why is the supply so restricted? How come there's so few homes for sale? One, and he gives the reasons: boomers are aging in place. Second, non-primary residence, that's vacation homes. Airbnb, this is coming up more now that we'll see this below too, that Airbnb is becoming a reason. Here they're saying in Scottsdale, 6% of the homes are used as Airbnbs. Wow, at least part of the year. So that's taking homes. They were homes and now they're a business and it's taking them out of the stock. So how many years would it take of building new homes to get 5,000 homes? So it's like offsetting the new supply coming from new construction. Anyway, let's go. Institutional buyers backed by hedge funds. I did a recent article with Ivy Zellman talking about this, and my whole thing is like, where is this money coming from? And if it stops coming, how does it happen? Are they gonna, if the market tanks, how do they respond? One of the big problems we had in 2005, 6, 7, 8, etc., was we had those buyers had no equity in it, so they just walked away, and we got a flood of foreclosures. I don't think we would see that in this, but then again, I don't really understand exactly the financing for all these institutional buyers. Although, and also, it's not just the institutional buyers; it could be the small mom and pop buyers, but they do have some equity in it. Obviously, we don't have those liar's loans like we did in the previous bubble. And here we get some Mr. and he's a great numbers guy. That institutional buyers. This is just institutional buyers, not mom and pops. Hold 27,000 to 30,000 properties in Maricopa County. And here's the answer to the same question is from Mike at the Crawford report. This is a subscribers thing, but I pulled some of it. While demand from investors, particularly large scale buy to rent investors, remains strong, demand from owner occupiers is clearly falling trend. Wow. And then he gives three reasons. Uh, Long-term rentals, like mentioned above. Holiday rentals, the Airbnb, like mentioned also by Mike. Fewer sellers want to give up their cheap rate. Yeah, that's locking people getting a rate lock. So, all things being equal, they wouldn't want to sell if they're going to move into a house with a higher rate. Large numbers of baby boomers are aging in place. Aging in place is another one. So that's just the demographics. People, I used to see this, I don't know, 15 years ago, that people would move about every 7 years until they hit about 60. And once they hit 60, they only move once the rest of their lives. At least that was what I had read 15 years ago. And here's my take. The top reason landlords are buying so many homes away from families, that's what is keeping supply low. If they weren't buying those homes, they would be for sale for families to buy. So it's not so much that there's less supply, it's just there's the demand when you have a certain amount of homes for sale and you have new people coming in as investors, that's pulling them away and lowering the supply for the people who use those homes for their families. There's also what was mentioned above, second homes. That's a big increase in second homes. That was because of COVID. People and work from home made second homes more desirable, and also Airbnb taking stock, converting homes into businesses lowers the number of homes. Okay, here's some new graphics. You can see that the median price of homes is up 27% in 1 year, 50% almost in 2 years. And this is from MLS Data, the Arizona Regional MLS Data. Interesting, the number of homes for sale is about the same, exactly the same as it was a year ago. Of course, it was very low a year ago because that's when a year ago, this is for January data. A year ago in January was the peak COVID does, and people just didn't want to sell. So you would think we would have a lot more than back then, but we don't. We have the same as back then, and 40% lower than 2 years ago. New listings, we're still getting little bit fewer new listings than a year ago. Ah, this shows that there was more homes sold than there were homes hitting the market. Uh, Part of that is a lot of people are selling it in-house. So if you work for a big brokerage, everybody lists their homes for sale. So they're not hitting the MLS until they're already sold. And they're trying to sell them within house within the same brokerage. And here's the MLS data. Wild. So you can see, I like to show that in 2019, look, red is the number of houses listed for sale. It was tanking through 2019 before COVID even hit. We were in an incredibly tight supply. And what else was going on in 2019? Oh, yeah, interest rates were tanking the entire time. And they continued going down to, oh, about there. Huh. Interesting how the red line goes straight down as interest rates were going down as well. Hmm. Okay, and here's the weekly data. Some of the things you see, this is, well, I can scroll down a little bit more. You can see that the number of homes for sale is a little bit more than it was a year ago. You can see that here. It's a little bit more than it was here at the time. But of course, a year ago, it was like 60% lower than it was the previous year. So my expectation is if we didn't have so many investors coming into the market, for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons they could come in, this would be far, far higher. It would have a lot more supply. It would be approaching normal, I should think. Great. You can click on any of these graphs to go to the interactive version of them. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Tell your friends. Appreciate it. Take care.